Thanks for coming to help us celebrate child and youth advocacy, advocacy for BC's children and youth, at a very exciting time in our province, a time of opportunity right now. I think many of us are excited about the possibilities if we work together really hard to make things happen, and I'm sure we will. We do have some special guests to honor and to listen to tonight, and I know you want to get to that part of the program, so I'm going to keep my remarks quite short and just give you a very quick overview of some of our work over the past year and acknowledge some of our supporters and collaborators. So after 25 years, our coalition continues to grow. We now stand at over 100 member organizations. We come together in a shared commitment to upholding children's rights and to a passionate and persistent advocacy to build a province that holds children and youth at the center of our public policy and that refuses to accept the growing inequality that has profoundly negative impacts on the health of individuals, families, and our communities. Our diversity in this coalition is our strength, as we count among our members representatives from early childhood, youth services, public education, health, immigrant settlement, Indigenous organizations, child welfare, labor unions, neighborhood houses, researchers, many others. And so I want to acknowledge a little bit how our collective work is supported by the efforts of many, and I'd like to start with my staff team. We are a big coalition, but we're a pretty small staff team, so I want to recognize them, and I believe they're all in the house and can stand up and wave when I call their names. So first, I'm going to recognize our former office coordinator, Julie Chang. Julie was with us for the first 6 months of last year, but she left us for a homelessness partnership job. So anyway. And Vivica Ellis, who's been working with us after that. Vivica is here somewhere, I'm sure. John Kennedy, our communications and development coordinator. Hello, John. Deanna Ogle, our Living Wage for Families campaign organizer. A new member of our staff, Dylan Cohen, our youth organizer. Has some fans in the room. And Emily Chan, who many of you may have met already, who's organized this event. Okay. And I want to recognize also another important group of people, our steering committee. They are wonderful. They are volunteers as well who have very busy lives and other responsibilities, but they serve us with the gift of their time and their leadership. And you can hold your applause perhaps until I've named them all. There's about 9 or so of them. And I'll name them and their organizations. So Geeta Chud from the Coalition of Childcare Advocates, Karen Dickinson-Smith from the Family Services of Greater Vancouver, Dylan Falconer from PLEA Community Services of BC, Society of BC, Derek Gent from Van City Community Foundation, John Greshner, retired, but from the Office of the Representative for Children and Youth, most recently, among other things John's done, Jocelyn Hamill from Mount Pleasant Neighborhood House, Cheryl Mixon, retired also from Family Services of Greater Vancouver in her past career. Emily Mletsko from Early Childhood Educators of BC. Jean Moore from the BC Alliance for Mental Health and Addiction Services. Catherine Moore, a newly graduated UBC student, and shout out to her for her recent Westbrook Scholar Award out at UBC. And Pam Preston from West Coast Child Care Resource Society. So thank you to all of them for their support as well. And if you're new to First Call and you have any questions about our work or want to know how you can get engaged in the coalition's work, please contact any of the steering committee members or any of the staff who are here tonight, or give us a call afterwards. So a few highlights from our work over the past year. The Vancouver Foundation has been a wonderful partner to us this year, especially in supporting our advocacy and to improve supports for youth in and from care as they transition out of government care. So last October, over 60 young leaders from care came with us to Victoria to remind ministers and MLAs of their commitments that they made during the election and to rally on the steps of the legislature to raise public awareness of the need to make change and to do better for youth aging out of care. We did present a bunch of recommendations, and we're looking for those to be fulfilled. So thank you to those youth leaders. This work was led by Dylan Cohen, our new youth organizer, and also members of the Vancouver Foundation's Youth Advisory Circle. Our new government has been listening And one of their first actions, has already been mentioned in Premier Hogan's letter, was the post-secondary tuition waivers for youth from care, making that government policy rather than a voluntary commitment for individual colleges and universities. So thanks. And thanks to Melanie Mark for making that happen. Reasonably, youth have expectations for other systemic improvements to better support transitions out of care, and we will be working hard with them to make these a reality as well. Always raise your expectations. As always, we published our annual Child Poverty Report Card in November, and highlighting again the growing income inequality that has 1 in 5 of our children living in poverty and a shocking half of all children in lone parent families poor. This report and its 22 recommendations for provincial and federal governments to act on is a key tool. We use it throughout the year in our campaign to eliminate child and family poverty in the province and the country. And our thanks to Spark BC for their amazing help in production of that report and the maps that go with it. If you haven't visited the Still 1 in 5 website where you can see the report and lots of things that aren't in the print version, please go there. You can see your own community in those maps. The solutions to child and family poverty covered in the report card recommendations were included in our provincial election toolkit. It was an election year last year, as you will remember. So we always do provincial election toolkits or federal election toolkits, whatever we need to do to get children and youth on the agenda of those during that crucial time when people are listening, especially. And it was used by members around the province to raise the issues of well-being for children, youth, and families with candidates throughout the election. Our collective voice during the election on the many urgent issues and policy changes needed was powerful and effective. As part of the BC Poverty Reduction Coalition, First Call has been calling for a comprehensive provincial poverty reduction plan for many years, and we now have a provincial government engaged with us in developing a provincial plan. So we're very happy about that. Some of the key recommendations in the report card around childcare, support for inclusive public education, for raising welfare rates, and many other recommendations, they reflect the leadership of the people in this room, the First Call members and their organizations who bring their amazing campaigns to the coalition table and ask for collective support, and that's what we can offer as a whole. So we've seen progress on many fronts, and we see now as a key time to build on those gains and work hard now more than ever to make BC a place where all the 4 keys to success that we talk about at First Call for children and youth can be realized. Now's our time. The Living Wage for Families campaign, which First Call hosts, has gained momentum. We now have over 100 living wage employers certified in the province, including several local governments. Organizing for more people to be paid living wages is one of the most important solutions to child and family poverty, given that most poor children in the province live with parents who are working in 1 or more jobs. Our campaign organizer, Deanna Ogle, has been working incredibly hard to bring to support low-wage workers to be heard by policy makers as opportunities have been arising and been opened up for public input. This work is supported by living wage employers such as Van City, United Way of the Lower Mainland, our labor and community partners through a campaign advisory committee and the employers working group. So a very active and vibrant campaign that we're proud to host. We're also working with other partners in the BC Employment Standards Coalition to make sure that any review that happens of employment standards includes restoring and improving protections for children and youth in the workforce, including raising the work start age back up above 12, from 12, where it is now. We have many other things on the go, but I'm going to stop there because I know you want to get on. So in closing, I want to recognize the support of some very important organizations that are essential to First Call's sustainability. For several years now, we've been gifted with a home at the Van City Community Foundation, where we are supported with office space and other administrative support, including a wonderful group of people to work with. Van City's leadership and financial support of the Living Wage campaign has been absolutely amazing and crucial to the growth of the campaign. So we thank them tonight for being the presenting sponsor, and I'll be inviting Catherine up shortly, being the presenting sponsor for tonight's gala, and for the many ways they lend their support to building communities that can help children thrive. Our thanks also to the United Way of the Lower Mainland for their contribution Child Poverty Report Card and some of our work on early childhood, and for being tonight's living wage sponsor. As we receive no government funding, we could not keep this coalition going without the generous financial and in-kind contributions of our coalition member organizations and the many individual donors who continue to support our work. Many of you in the room tonight, again, thanks so much. Child and youth advocacy is alive and well in BC, thanks to your support. Our thanks tonight also to our other event sponsors. I'll just list them quickly. Our child and youth advocates, the Hospital Employees Union, UFCW, United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Local 1518, Coast Capital Savings, our coalition allies, Rafi Center for Child Honoring, and the BC Government Employee and Service Union. Tonight's media sponsor, we've never had a media sponsor before, we do this tonight, the Roundhouse Radio. Our community partners Move Up, Marine Printers, our beer sponsor, Central City, our wine sponsor, Hester Creek, and raffle donors, including WestJet and Pacific Coastal Airlines. So thanks to all of those for making this possible. We have a lot to celebrate, including the fact that this coalition continues to grow in strength thanks to the commitment that our members bring to the table and the willingness to learn from each other and support each other's issues and campaigns, recognizing that they are all connected to improving the well-being of BC's children, youth, and families. So thank you again for all of you for being here tonight.